So, at least I know what's going to happen next week. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Titans Rundown. And usually after a loss, I deliver this with a heavy heart, but I'm not completely upset, even though we probably should have won that game. I'm still not as upset as I was after the Browns game or after the Saints game, where both of those it just felt like we were just not in rhythm or just not doing well. But yeah. Um so before I start this video, if you don't know who Tierre Tart is, then you may want to exit because I am going to talk about him a lot today in a positive way. Negative, I will talk about Christian Fulton in a very negative way, and trust me, we'll get to him. But oh gosh. Okay, so let's get into let's just get right on into today's episode. Okay, so first off, obviously we got to do the 3-minute segment. Oh, let me put up my Derrick Henry card here real quick. We got to do that 3-minute segment. I know it's infamous, but it's just a way for me to connect with y'all on other things like college football, which is what I'm going to be talking about today. Actually, no, no, I can't talk to y'all about college football today because the Vols didn't play this week. We had a bye. Also, I have no clue what I'm even going to do on the bye week. So, I have no clue. I'll probably ask y'all, put something up on the community tab and be like, "Hey, you want to do this or that?" But anyway, so let's talk about something that just happened in my personal life. So I went back down to my original hometown. Shout out to Manchester. You probably know us for Bonnaroo, if that's just 100% truth. So, I went down there to do a little bit of a service project. It was something known as One Day of Hope. One Day of Hope is this event that my grandparents host where a bunch of volunteers get together and we just help out a bunch of people that aren't as, well off, and we give them free stuff we give them healthy foods, uh we give them haircuts, clothes, all that type of stuff. So, um I just wanted to let y'all know I don't mean to preach whenever I say this, but but if you can get involved in your community, please do so. That's just always a great thing that you can do. And helping out other people that may not have the same privileges that you do is always something that it makes you feel good inside, but you also just made someone's day. So, yeah, I really enjoyed the event, honestly. um I'm not too sure what's going to happen to it once my grandparents pass away, but we'll just have to see. But you know, uh, yeah. So, I had a great time. So there's an exit, and whenever people were on their way out the exit, I helped them get their stuff on the golf carts, which we would and then we would drive them to their cars. I know that you were probably thinking, wait, well, honestly, I remember thinking whenever I was really young and I first went to it, wait, poor people have cars? Yeah, they do. Again, it's not just homeless people, it's also people that are just straight up not well off. They barely get paid. So, yeah. Um I really enjoyed my time there, and probably going to go back next year. And it's been on the UT bye week a lot recently, so do with that what you will. And honestly, I do really want it to happen again, so that way I don't have to miss out on my Vols. So yeah. Anyway, so if you stayed through that segment, thank you. But now we are going into the actual events of the episode. So, Titans lost to the Colts this week. 23-16 was the final score. Um, I know that a lot of people are grabbing their pitchforks like, Rabel should be fired. Rand Carthen was a horrible hiring. Um, Let me try and think of another stupid thing that some people have said. Oh yeah, there was one more thing that, oh yeah, Tannehill should be benched. None of those things should happen this week. Now, if we go out there and something like this happens next week, or the Browns game happens next week, sure, I am all for it. Grab your pitchforks and, you know, maybe not Vrabel getting fired or that Rand Carthen is horrible, but like benching Tannehill, if he has a bad game next week and we lose, then yeah, grab your pitchforks, let's bench him. But anyway, and you're probably thinking, Micah, you didn't mention Derrick Henry. You didn't mention You didn't mention those bozos that think that Derrick Henry shouldn't get the ball more. Well, I am one of those bozos that thinks that that is a good take. I think that Tajay Spears has just been playing better than Derrick Henry on every stat imaginable, except for yards because he doesn't have as many carries as Derrick Henry. On almost every stat imaginable, Tajay has been better. Now, I know that's not as big of a sample size, but like he has been very solid. He's made great moves. And yes, I would like to keep Derrick Henry around just for this year, let him be our red zone threat. Like whenever we're like within like the 20 to 10 yard line, let him just punch it in. But like, I feel like Tajay should be getting more carries like outside of the red zone, you know? So like, and I know people are going to call me crazy for that, but it's just the truth. And I feel like that my, and I feel like that the vision for what Vrabel and Tim Kelly want to do with this offense, I think that Tajay fits better into that. Like, sure, if this was like 2019 and Arthur Smith was still our offensive coordinator, 100% Derrick Henry fits into that better. And yeah, so like, but now with this more like, it feels like a more modern offense, like, Derrick Henry is a uh, is not as suitable for this offense. So, me personally, I think that Derrick Henry should be our red zone back, and Tajay should be our back on most of the other plays. Because like we haven't had a backup step up like this before. Now I know, okay, Foreman did pretty solid in 2021, but like we haven't had someone step up like this before where they can actually steal carries from Derrick Henry. It just hasn't happened. So now that we have someone that can take the load off of Derrick Henry, we need to take advantage of that. You know what I'm saying? Like we need to we need to we need to run Tajay more. That's just my personal opinion. But anyway, let's go ahead and move on. I'm seeing a lot of people call for Rand Carthen's head. Maybe not call for his firing, but like saying that he's a bad GM. But like I heard this one point on another podcast I listened to. Shout out to the Locked On Titans podcast. Tic Tac Titan is great and he does great stuff over there. But I remember hearing this thing where it was just like, yeah, it's his first free agency with a horribly built roster by John Robinson, and and uh and he spent most of his not picks signings on lottery tickets, like he signed Daniel Brunskill, was a hit. Arden Key was okay. He's been solid. Andre Dillard was a big miss. Oh man, Aziz Al-Shair was a big hit. Like, we've had some very solid hits. And Sean Murphy Bunting, holy cow, Sean Murphy Bunting has been great. It's just that he's not a true number one corner, which is kind of upsetting because, Christian Fulton is, and yes, We will get to him eventually. But uh yeah, Rand Carson, I feel like actually did a pretty decent job with how many, you know, like how, Tic Tac Titan said lottery ticket signings we got, and how many of the and how basically half of them have worked out. And you could make the argument that Arden Key worked out, like I feel like he and we haven't seen what's gonna come of Will Levis, but we've seen what those other two picks will become. We see that Tajay is probably going to be the running back of the future, and we see that Peter Skronsky is going to be a very good guard for a very good amount of years, at least in my opinion. I'm not sure if anyone's picked that vibe up, but and then yeah, the rest of the draft. So Will Levis isn't really going to be playing for like the first year or two, and the rest of them are just basically like good backups. But hey, Josh Wiley's been pretty solid whenever he's gotten his opportunities, which I was completely wrong on that. I am so sorry to Josh Josh Wiley. We should not have drafted Toa over you, buddy. I know that he probably doesn't watch my videos, but whatever. Anyway, so um oh gosh, I gotta hurry this up because I dedicate the last 5 minutes to what's going to be happening next week. So so okay, um, first off, I thought it was bad. I thought it was a bad play call by Tim Kelly to run it out of shotgun with Derrick Henry, who had not had a rhythm all day. I thought that that was a really bad idea. I think that we should have ran something different. But anyway, let's get into. Oh yeah, also people are calling for variable set. Don't listen to them. I'm not even gonna address that until next year if they start out rough. But anyway, so let's talk about Christian Fulton, dude. I wasn't expecting him to be like another worldly uh defensive back. Like he was never gonna be that. But I thought he could be like a solid cornerback one. He's not like one of those guys that's gonna give up like 95 yards a game and have two very costly penalties and have dang near 90% of targets thrown at him be caught. I didn't think he was going to become that, but here we are. Like, and we don't have anyone better to you know, replace him because Trey Avery tried to do that. He was awful. And I mean, he was horrible. We let up we let up he let up two touchdowns on 15 targets and 13 receptions. There's no other better option under Christian Fulton, which is horrible. And I'm really hoping that we go to free agency or something and try and find a dude so that way we can, you know, at least at least try and bench Christian Fulton. I mean, honestly, let's pick up Vrabe's old buddy, Logan Ryan. I know that it's he's old and he may end up actually being worse than Christian Fulton, but it's worth a shot. Honestly, like there are from I remember looking it up. I can't remember their names, but there were some defensive backs that I knew their names, and I was just like, okay, he could work out for us. But oh gosh. Yeah, the defensive back room is a mess right now. Not because of the guys under Christian Fulton, because the guys under Christian Fulton have been pretty solid. Roger McCreary has been very good for a slot corner, and Sean Murphy Bunting has been very good for a corner two. I don't think that he's good enough to be a corner one. I'm just being honest, but we need to draft a cornerback in the first round next year. Okay, we addressed the offensive line. We addressed part of the offensive line issue. I think that we just go find a left tackle in free agency at this point. Because the right side of the O line is pretty solid. Chris Hubbard has been good. I'm not too sure what's going to happen with MPF. Daniel Brunskill has been great, and Peter Skronsky has been has been very solid in the time that he has been given. And Aaron Brewer has done enough. He hasn't been amazing, but he's been good enough. So yeah, those are really the only two positions I think we should even consider drafting. But anyway, in the first round at least, second round go for a receiver because Traylon doesn't look like he's going to work out. But anyway, so I spent all the time that I can talking about. Oh wait, no, wait, hold up, no, I'm going to purposefully cut off the 5 minutes that I have for this to dedicate at least 2 minutes to Tierre Tart. That dude, I didn't realize how good he was until Zach Moss, a dude that couldn't start in Buffalo and couldn't start over a running back that had negative yards on Sunday, ran for 130 yards and most of his runs were up the middle. I did not realize that Tierre Tart made that big of an impact. Dude, we need to pay him. Like, we need to pay him bad. Like, dude, that swim move is lethal, man. Like, dude, oh, man. I have so much more respect for Tierre Tart now. Like, before I thought he was like a replaceable defensive tackle. Like, oh yeah, we'll let him go this year in free agency and we'll be fine. We got plenty of depth at that position. But no, we need to keep Tierre Tart. We need to extend him right now. Okay, so just needed to get that ran out of the way. So we play. I'm trying to think. We play the Ravens this next weekend, and we play them in London. I really wish that it was a Toy Story game, but whatever. But so we play in London against the Ravens. We've had success against Lamar Jackson, at least in the regular season. Postseason, we're 1-1, I believe, against him. So anyway, so I think that we're gonna beat the Ravens, not because of the fact that we looked like that we could beat the Ravens this week, but because the Ravens looked bad this week, combined with the fact of how wildly inconsistent our team has been. So yeah, me personally, I think that we should go ahead and I think that we're gonna go ahead and get the dub going to the bye week 3-3, which is really all that we needed to do throughout this stretch. That's just the truth. I know that we've done it very ugly, and we have looked very inconsistent, and we could be more consistent. That's just the truth. But like, what I've heard time and time again is that like it's this 6-game stretch at the beginning of the year that's like really hard, but then after that it gets pretty easy. Like, sure, we have the Texans and the Jags and the Colts one more time, which I still think that we could very easily beat the Colts, and I think that we can take it. And I think that we can take advantage of the inexperience of the Texans and the Jags. They won against the Bills. I'll give them that much credit, but I don't know. I just don't feel threatened yet. Like, I will feel threatened if they crush us whenever we play them next. That's just the truth. Anyway, so there was one more thing that I wanted to bring up. Oh yeah. So Tannehill, if he doesn't win this game, I know that Will Levis is the QB3 right now, but like, dude, they're gonna give him like if we're playing bad, they're gonna give him a shot over Malik because we know that Malik is a capable backup, but we don't know what Will Levis is just yet. We put him at QB3 because we have no clue what we have in him because we didn't get to see him in preseason because of that dang dole injury. But anyway, so that's how I'm going to end off. Actually, I need to end off the episode on a brighter note. Okay, so Ravens, we're going to beat them, and we're going to be just fine going into the bye. Anyway, so I have Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and if you're listening to the version of this on Apple Podcasts or any of the podcasting services, I have a YouTube. Anyway, So all of them are under the same thing, the Titans Rundown. So if you want to, you can go follow me, or on YouTube subscribe to me if you want to. I'll have the links down in the description. But anyway, that's gonna do it for me. I love y'all, and tighten up.